Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and Rick and Morty Season 4, Episode 4, Claw and Hoarder, Special Ricktim's Morty, is filled with subtle animation details and hidden jokes. If you can look past the slut dragons, they pull a lot of focus. They can pull any part of me they want. Sorry, distracted. Arrested? No, just distracted. We'll see. Let's break down all the stuff that you might have missed this episode, and spoiler warning if you have not seen it yet. Okay, this episode opens with Morty fleeing guards with Chachi, some cat-like alien companion who helped Morty escape from prison with the ultimate cube, a backstory that we may never know more about because his brains get blown out. The animators include a shot of Rick framed through the wound, an angle they used in the Pickle Rick episode. Rick ain't thrilled with this throwaway MacGuffin.
Oh, it's purple.
You said it was purple!
I said mine was. I didn't know they all were.
The ultimate cube is a take on the Tesseract of the MCU, which is blue, color-coded with the rainbow spectrum of colors that the other Infinity Stones have, and Morty demands a dragon.
You know who's into dragons, Morty? Nerds that refuse to admit they're Christian.
Very true, but also a nod to fantasy writers like C.S. Lewis, a devout Christian and theologist, and others like Tolkien and George R.R. Martin who claim to avoid Lewis's Christian symbolism, but nonetheless fell into Christ figures throughout their mythologies. Morty childishly repeats himself.
I want my dragon! I want my dragon! I want my dragon!
This calls back the famous Simpsons episode where Bart repeatedly demanded the elephant he was promised.
Where's my elephant? Where's my elephant? Where's my elephant? Where's my elephant?
Hey, they're playing the elephant song!
Morty gets his dragon with a blood oath from the wizard. He grants him a dragon spellbook, which Morty carries around, similar to the book in the Neverending Story. And Morty gets his dragon.
My name is Balthramar, Breaker of Sky, Slayer of Mountain.
These Mother of Dragons style titles are a nod to this dragon being voiced by Liam Cunningham, aka Sir Davos Seaworth from Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is one of the many dragon properties parodied this episode. Morty's flight definitely reflects John and Danny's stupid flight in the final season premiere, as well as the Falcor flight in the Neverending Story, and the many flight sequences in the How to Train Your Dragon series, and of course Harry Potter riding the Hippogriff in The Prisoner of Azkaban. The running joke of this episode is the modern popularity of dragons is weirdly erotic and masturbatory, masking a subculture of dragon fetishists that, trust me, you don't want to Google. Later, when Rick soul bonds with Balthrama, it's similar to the bonding between Navi to beast tethering in Avatar. Jerry asks Rick about a talking cat, and Rick shrugs it off.
If you're talking to a cat, it's an abnormal event unrelated to me, like when you went to Pluto or my daughter.
Jerry's visit to Pluto is a callback to the B story of the Something Wicked This Way Comes episode, in which Jerry got mixed up in Pluto's environmental politics. This talking cat is voiced by Matthew Broderick.
Maybe it's time you stopped asking questions and started having fun.
The cat is left a bit of a mystery this episode, with some stomach-turning backstory that we never see. Now, the writers say he's based on the cats of animated movies like Oliver and Company, who talk without explanation. Others say it could be a nod to the Cat from Outer Space movie, or that it's Mr. Poopy Butthole's cat, though that cat has a different fur pattern on its nose. This one has a dick shape on its nose, which I use as evidence for a really up backstory for this cat that I went into in this week's episode of Rick'Splained with Brandon Johnson, voice of Mr. Goldenfold. Go check it out. When Morty returns with his dragon, you can see Morty's and Rick's graves in the backyard. Those were from when they killed and buried the alternate versions of themselves at the end of Rick Potion number 9. Rick and Summer watch a show called Ass, which is a nod to Bones, and this episode's title, Claw and Hoarder, Special Ricktim's Morty, is a nod to another procedural, Law and Order SVU, co-starring Ice-T, aka Water Tea of Alpha Betrium. Rick confronts the dragon, who lounges on his hoarded riches like Smaug from The Hobbit. Among these treasures are a vintage high-C ecto cooler, also some ones that are harder to spot, the Toy Soldier Spin Pops, a Dan Harmon Funko Pop figure, Action Comics number 1, that was the first appearance of Superman, a lunchbox with Duckman from the 90s animated series, the 4-Sarah cassette tape from Over the Garden Wall, a Korg Castellator Pro tablet, VR goggles, a Tesla, the Venus de Milo statue, and a Banksy painting. Rick marvels at a signed Future vinyl album, and later this episode, Rick and the dragon party to Future's Mask Off, and they blow off Morty with an animated gif of Taylor Swift, and they free some zoo animals. You can notice Rick bothers a giraffe, maybe a nod to the orgy he had with the giraffe in the Erotic Assimilation episode.
Not looking for judgment, just a yes or no. Can you assimilate a giraffe?
Meanwhile, Jerry flies the talking cat to Florida to play volleyball on the beach as a Florida refugee. I can tell you that no beach in Florida, specifically one on the Gulf Coast since they later face the coast with the sun setting to the west of them, no beach in Florida has hills or cliffs. The whole coastline of the state is very, very flat, but clearly the animators based this on the west coast of Southern California. Among this beach party is an adult Ash Ketchum from Pokemon, along with an adult Tommy Pickles from Rugrats, neither of whom aged too well. All the other dudes are Molina level jacked. I love how the animators included many of these characters farmers' tans. Very Florida thing. Rick and the dragon soul bond orgasmically And the wizard returns. Notice how he's adjusting his robe as he comes through the portal. Later this episode, we'll see that whenever he's summoned, he's always in the middle of his own slutty sesh. The whip he uses to slut-shame Belthrama has a bone hilt, and Rick calls him Dandruff the Grey, a nod to Gandalf the Grey. And the wizard summons a stone monster, teleports away with a lightning bridge, which is a lot like the Bifrost of Asgard in the Marvel Universe. Actually, in the MCU, the magic of Asgard is defined by Thor as science in their eyes, and a similar debate between science and magic unfolds between Rick and the wizard.
Stone monster! Stick that up your ass! Oh, you're done? I thought the rock monster was here to introduce a physicist.
As Rick did with the trash and rat parts in the Pickle Rick episode, he engineers a device to convert his situation into scientific units he can use. His proton pack style magic converter is awesome to see in action against these orcs in the Dragonarchy, which is a volcanic setting very similar to Mordor. One of the orcs has a big ass, and Rick inflates a bunch of other orcs similar to Harry Potter's inflation spell in Prisoner of Azkaban, and Summer pops them with her arrows. Rick converts an orc to a football and punts it. He converts another to a flower pot, maybe a nod to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when an enemy missile is converted into a bowl of petunias.
Curiously, the only thing that went through the mind of the bowl of petunias as it fell was, oh no, not again.
One is turned into a bird, another into a pig, another into a rooster, and then another into a bottle of booze, and then another into a bowling ball, which he bowls into others that he turns into pins, which he then turns into butterflies, and then into Easter eggs for us to find. But Summer's cocky arrow work leads to Belthrama and Rick getting hit in the eye, and the wizard to beat up Rick with a power of 12 feet. Meanwhile, in Florida, the talking cat tries to mingle on the yacht party. You can see an adult Ash Ketchum smoking a bong, and there's drugs and alcohol everywhere. Ouzo, lines of coke, everyone's smoking a joint, there's a plate of pot brownies, a typical Florida Monday. And others hide in the dragon slut cave beneath the ground. You can see there's dragon skeletons buried there. And they meet the other slut dragons, including Deborah and Michael, who the woolly mammoth, yikes. And I love how Deborah shoos him away by waving her wing at him, and Summer rallies them.
This man with a ponytail makes a valid point.
This could be an in-joke to the Discovery fans have made that Summer's character design is essentially Jerry with a ponytail, and then their elder is Shadowjacker.
It's high time I emerge from my cocoon. I grow tired of eavesdropping and masturbating to the sounds you all make.
His staff has a sex toy on the end, and I just love that they included a wet, squishy sound in the mix whenever he walks with it. And now the Slut Dragons Voltron together in a soul orgy, forming a Phoenix Dragon force that destroys the wizard and the other dragons.
I smell! I smell! That just made it last longer! It burns longer! I could have died fast!
Rick mocks the writing on the portal since his portals never have writing on them. He's referencing how the portals in like Doctor Strange and other properties have these mystical text and runes floating around them. And upon returning, Rick realizes that Jerry's talking cat is a real problem.
You know, I better check on him. Big season finale right there, you know?
Given the cat's dark past being left a mystery, we may very well be seeing him again. But Rick flies Jerry and the cat out to the desert.
Quantum radiator might need some nano water.
This is a callback to Rick's joke in the Microverse episode.
Quantum carburetor? Jesus, Morty, you can't just add a sci-fi word to a car word and hope it means something. Huh, looks like something's wrong with the Microverse battery.
And if you're curious what this talking cat really could have done, again, check out the Rick Explained episode for my up theory there. Rick clears this awful memory from Jerry's mind by using the same mind blower device from the season 3 Morty's Mind Blower episode. And in the post-credit scene, when Belthrama sadly tries to soul bond with anyone who's interested, there's one more hidden dickie here, one of the graffiti on the wall, before he throws his riches in front of it. What do you think the cat's dark backstory is? Comment down below with your thoughts, and a reminder to check out New Rockstar's new Q&A show, The Big Question. It's a really fun new format where we tackle the nerdiest questions by throwing scary levels of math and science at them. Check it out. I'm real proud of it. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.